struggling with your weight, then you've probably have a few bad habits keeping you stuck. In this episode, I'll help you diagnose the specific habits that are blocking your health, and then we'll look at some healthy habits you can replace them with instead. So, welcome to Joyful Eating 172. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the three food habits keeping you stuck and some healthy habits you can swap them in with instead. But before we get to that, the best bite I had actually last night, I just like a quick, easy meal, just cook some frozen barramundi straight in the air fryer, cooked it until it was started to go crispy around the edges and was well done. And then I just served it with some shaved cabbage, like just like coleslaw mix, and then a commercial like cheese and olive dip that I'd got, which was kind of like a feta and olive dip. And that as a sauce with the fish, like I don't know what inspired me to do it because I wouldn't normally think to put cheesy things I was kind of in the mood for the olives, I think. But yeah, it just worked so well with the barramundi and the cabbage. Like it really brought everything together. So three ingredients, like so good. Okay, so our plan for today is first I'll share the story behind this episode, and then we're going to look at the three food habits that are keeping you stuck and blocking weight loss. And then we'll look at three helpful habits that you can do instead. And then we'll follow up with the next step. So basically the story behind this episode is just in my years of working with clients and helping them change their relationship with food and be able to lose weight without it being a struggle and to actually enjoy the process. One of the things that I've kind of like I see time and time again is that there are a few habits that keep people stuck. And when they unravel those habits or replace those habits with more healthy habits, then the weight loss starts to happen easily and like flows. And they're like always really a surprise of like, oh, I didn't realize this could be so simple or so easy. And they're like it's really mad how this works. So I'm always on the lookout for when I'm coaching someone who's like, oh, what are your roadblocks? And again, and also I've really noticed this in my own life as well, in terms of when I uncover my blocks, that has like when I uncovered my blocks or my bad habits, like that had really made a huge impact on my weight as well and my ability to manage it with ease and joy. So it's definitely something that I have a lot of experience with. So there are actually, I could do a podcast episode on 100 food habits keeping us stuck, but I was like, no, we'll just do three today. We don't want to take up our whole life. So the three I chose today. So let's look at the three roadblock food habits that I thought we'd cover today. And I'll definitely revisit more this idea in future as well. We'll look at other habits. But three today. So first one, I think that is really pernicious, and thank you, our parents of our generation for instilling this in it, is the cleaning your plate. So if you have that habit of always cleaning your plate, that is a massive roadblock. And why it is, it's because you're just eating on autopilot and you're not tuning into your body. And the thing is, like, particularly if you're eating out and you're not controlling how much food is going on your plate, if you're just in that habit of automatically cleaning your plate, I can guarantee that you're eating way more food than your body needs. And so of course that's keeping you stuck. And it doesn't feel like a big thing, but when we like day in, day out, like, and you may not be like, you might clean your plate and you're not feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm so stuffed, I just ate Thanksgiving dinner. Like, it's not that type of overeating, but it's just these little bits every single day, every single meal that you don't need really add up. And so when you learn, so that of course and we'll talk about the helpful habits when we get to the helpful habits section, but it perpetuates overeating, and it definitely keeps you stuck. So that's one, our first roadblock habit. Second roadblock habit is relying on takeout and drive through. And why that is a habit, like a roadblock habit, it's because when we're eating fast food, yes, like there's no bad foods. I 100% believe that. And it's fine to like, have your hamburgers, have your deep fried chicken, like, yeah, that's not a problem in itself. But when we have doing that on a regular basis, the problem is that we miss out on the good nutrition that we get when we're cooking for ourselves. And so our bodies get used to eating food that is subpar nutritionally, and then and generally, like when we're eating takeout and drive through, we're not getting enough protein. And so what that means is, yes, we eat more calories than we need, like we get enough calories, but our bodies are still aren't satisfied because they're not getting the protein. And so then we end up like eating too much or going back for more and more because we've still got that hunger, and that it's coming from not having enough protein. So again, we'll talk about our helpful habit to replace that with later. And then the third roadblock habit that I think is can be really really damaging is, or really a big block is when we get into the habit of just like not having a proper dinner, like not having proper meals, and just kind of randomly grazing of like, oh, I'll just have a bit of cheese and crackers here, a handful of nuts there, and you keep like going back and foraging and what else have I got, and finding a couple of random things in the fridge, and oh, I'll have a bit of chocolate, and yeah, might have, oh, there are these chips there, I'll just finish those off. Like, and so when we get into the habit, and so why this grazing habit is a problem is because it's really unsatisfying. And again, like it tends to be that we're grazing on stuff that it doesn't have enough protein in it. So our bodies are like, hang on, I need more protein. So they're like, our bodies aren't satisfied. They're sending us back to the, come on, get some protein, girl. But when we're filling it up with more crackers or more cheese, like even though cheese does have some protein, it's not a lot. Um, we're not satisfied, and we're not getting what we need, and so we overeat because of this thing. And there's the physical lack of protein and satisfaction with grazing, and then there's also there's a psychological component to satiety as well. And so when we're grazing, we never get that feeling sense of, oh, I've had a meal, like that psychological, yes, that was enough feeling. And so again, we like that perpetuates overeating. So grazing, really not a helpful habit. And of course, like every now and again, not a problem, but if it's something that you're doing on a regular basis, it really does contribute to problems with your weight. So what do we want to do instead? Now that we've identified some roadblocks, what are the helpful habits that we can substitute so that we remove the roadblock and let the weight flow effortlessly? So of course, in terms of the cleaning your plate one, the opposite of that is like just getting into the habit of setting the intention to leave at least one bite or a couple of bites on your plate. And you don't have to do this for every meal, but what that does is when you're like, oh yeah, I am going to leave some food on my plate, it like just it opens you up to, like, the amount of food can vary. So then you're way more likely to notice, oh yeah, actually I'm feeling pretty full, and stop when you feel satisfied, rather than eating that extra food that you don't really need. And so the habit that can be helpful with this, first of all, just you could just decide to break up with the Clean Plate Club and rebel from the Clean Plate Club, which I did, and I highly recommend doing it. It feels really good. But the habit that I find helpful with this is I have the habit of, I call it my jar of random delights. And so rather, because often if people, uh, the barrier that comes up to not cleaning your plate is, oh, well, but I don't want to waste the food, right? I don't want to be this bad person wasting food, which that's a whole nother episode. um, but what we can do instead, a workaround for that is I just like I have a jar of random delights where I'll just, if I've got a couple of bites of, a bit of sausage, a bit of chicken, a bit of carrot, broccoli, whatever, I just put it in a jar and I put it in the fridge. And then or sometimes I'll just put, if it's my lunch, I'll just, like yesterday I had some salmon in a salad, and there was like some salmon left and a bit of some nuts. And I knew I'd had enough. So I just put the bowl in the fridge. And then when it came time to dinner, just when I was cooking dinner, I got it out and put it on the table. And then I just ate it along with my dinner. So I ended up eating it didn't go to waste. I ended up eating it, and it just included my meals. So that habit that can work. That's one way to work. Or the other habit that I have is sometimes I'll just, if I would have just put that salmon and those nuts and on the salad leaves, just pop them in a jar, my random bites jar. And then again, I'll just, whenever I'm like, maybe what my lunch the next day, I would just add those few random bites into my lunch. And it may sound gross and it may sound weird, but it's actually really fun. And oftentimes, like, I'll be eating and I will have, like, say there was some meatball from like 2 days ago. But, oh, that meatball was really delicious. Or there'll be like a little bit of cheese, and I'll be like, oh, that's really nice. And it adds this unexpected element to whatever, like unexpected complexity to my meal. So it's really a fun thing to do. So that's our first helpful habit. So yeah, instead of cleaning, break up with the clean plate club and just start having a jar, and you can add to it over multiple meals and then just add it, use it whenever you feel. And you'll end up like, it's kind of mad how much food you can end up like saving. And then there have been days where I've actually had a whole meal from my random delights jar. Like it's been enough for me to have a whole lunch out of. So this can really save you a lot of money and a lot of effort of cooking other things. So that's our first helpful habit. So then our second helpful habit. So if you've got the habit of relying on takeout or drive through or whatever, convenient option, frozen meal, whatever, then the habit that I really encourage you to do instead is learn how to make cooking easy. And the way to do that is to learn how to cook without recipes. Because when you have that skill of learning how to cook without recipes and how to simplify, it just makes it so much easier to be able to just walk in the kitchen, open the fridge, see what you've got, pull something together. And also like, so if you're on the way home, you're not thinking, you have that confidence of, oh yeah, I know I'll be able to pull something together. It's not going to be a lot of effort. So you're not tempted by the drive-through. You're not tempted by the takeaway on the way home because you know you've got a good option at home. So that's why that habit works. And then our third unhelpful roadblock habit, that grazing after dinner. Again, the solution there is to learn how to cook without recipes. And because when you have an option that feels easy, then like when it's dinner time and you're hungry and you're tempted to graze, you go, oh no, I'm actually gonna, like, I can just pull this together. It'll be quick. It won't take long. It won't be a lot of effort. And then it's going to seem a lot more appealing than just reaching for the nuts or reaching for the cheese and crackers or reaching for, making a piece of toast or, whatever your normal grazing foods are. And you'll be able to have a proper meal. And of course, you're cooking a proper meal, it's going to have some protein in it and you're going to feel satisfied and you're not going to be going back for more and more. So it makes a huge difference having this skill of learning to cook for yourself and having some easy options in your repertoire, and really being able to cook without recipes where you don't have to think of anything complicated is the secret sauce that makes this all possible. It makes it seem just as easy as grabbing takeout, or just as easy as having some random snacks, because like because you've really simplified cooking. And like it's mad how, and you'd be surprised how easy and how delicious your meals can be when you learn this skill of being able to cook without recipes, like just pull something together based on what you have. So if this is sounding good for you, if you're like, yes, Jules, I'm ready to learn to cook without recipes, I'm ready to get rid of these, like my roadblock habits that are keeping me stuck, then your next step is, I would love you to join me for my Joyful Cooking in 90 Days program. So with that, yes, the program goes for 90 days, but you'll be actually in the first week be able to pull something together. You'll have that ability to make something without a recipe within the first week. I guarantee it. And you'll be able to get rid of, say, wave goodbye to your roadblock habits right from that very first lesson. It really can be that simple and that life-changing. And yeah, if you like, you can be like one of my students, Jennifer, who was in the last group, who said, it opened to my eyes to how easy cooking can be. I used to rely heavily on the need for a recipe, but no more. With Jules's framework, I have access to so many options with a changed mindset. So you could be like Jennifer, like pulling together easy meals, feeling good about what you're having for dinner, feeling satisfied, eating better. And like when you're eating better, how that impacts all the other areas of your life. And so, yeah, come and join us in Joyful Cooking. It is so fun. So the next group's starting in June 2024, or whenever you're listening to this, the next group will be starting at some point in time. But so your next step is to just get on the wait list. So you just go to thestonesoup.com, which is my blog. I'll put the link in the show notes, and just click on the Joyful Cooking tab and you'll have the details there. Okay, have a fantastic week, and I will catch you. Actually, yeah, when this podcast comes out, enrollment might be open. So be open, be ready, and make sure you get in. And I would love to be your cooking coach and help you have some fun in the kitchen. Okay, talk soon.